Hey guys, I'm over here in historic Jamestown, Virginia, and it is 100 degrees already. It is Saturday, June 7th, 2012. I am walking through Jamestown settlement. No, not Jamestown settlement, historic Jamestown. There's actually a Jamestown settlement about a mile from here, and they actually have several excavations going on over there. We're not going to be going there today, but I am walking along the grounds here. I'm meeting my buddy Brad from high school and his high school sweetheart Betty. As you would assume, we're along the James River here, and alongside the back of the museum we have three recreations of the three famous ships that came to Jamestown. Those ships being the Nina, the Pinta, and the Titanic. What?
Right here is where we meet up with the tour guide, and he or she is going to take us around the facility and educate us on life in Jamestown back in the colonial times when it was first settled. And here we have this really weird brick structure that you would assume was put here upon the original settlement, but that just isn't the case. It's interesting though. It does attract the attention of people, of course, when they walk out of the museum for the first time. As you continue walking along this path, you reach a recreated Powhatan Indian village. It's really cleverly done. They've got about 5, maybe 7 of these Powhatan homes set up that you can actually walk into and see how the various Indians lived. And here are some totem poles. Now this is not quite like the totem poles that we typically learn about in school, but these are either refinished or replaced. The original ones that I've seen from a few years back, they were actually painted red, and the wood, that was the unpainted wood part, was a lot darker. So it's possible that they were untreated or just started to rot out and they just replaced them. I'm not sure what's going on here, but I like these. I think these are really neat to look at. You keep walking and you will see actual crops being grown. Here we have a cornfield, small one, but same concept. Oh, I hope those chickens are just for show. Otherwise, you guys are in trouble.
Welcome. Susan Constant, Discovery, Godspeed, 144 days, 1 person died, thank you very much, have a nice day. That's the nutshell version of basically what happened. 1 person died on a 144-day voyage. Let's talk about how that occurs. Back in the 1580s, the English got tired of the Spanish always making all the money in the New World. So what they did was they tried to start a settlement where we call the Outer Banks of North Carolina, right over here. In 1585, a man by the name of Sir Walter Raleigh put the money up to start the settlement. Queen Elizabeth helped in the naming of it, the Virgin Queen. That's where we get the word Virginia from. And they attempted a settlement with families and everything. Problem, 1588, something fairly major happened. The Spanish Armada tried to establish a foothold on the island of England, which the English weren't too terribly happy about. The invasion of the Spanish in the 1580s was a big deal, so all ships under the British Crown had to stay and defend the island. In the meantime, 3 years had passed, and no ships went to the Roanoke settlement. It's not because the English were stupid or anything. It's because the English were trying to defend their own land up here. Okay, so that's why the Roanoke settlement failed. There is no question why it failed. It was a supply problem. The big mystery in 1590, when they went back to see what had happened to those folks, is they disappeared. They couldn't find them. They didn't know where they went. That's why it's called a lost colony. So we really don't know what happened to those folks.
What have you been up to?
Oh, nothing today. I mean, I was making plans with you guys. And I have free reign for the rest of the day. Wife's at work. She's going to the movies afterward, and I only have a child at home who is probably going to need me like crazy, but she made me mad yesterday.
All right.
I'm not going to put that on here. Yeah,
I got mine hard too. About
Okay, so on to the fort. We are walking in the fort, and there's a whole bunch of little buildings here, homes, offices. There's a church that we'll see the interior of very soon. But in this room we have some barrels, and there's my stepson, Zach.
Yeah, right.
And there's also tobacco hanging from the ceilings there, and they discuss what they did to earn money, and how they established a rapport and a partnership with the Powhatan Indians. Very interesting learning. A lot to do, a lot to see, and definitely a lot to learn.
Leatherworking tools and leatherworking techniques that were pretty common to these folks, especially using harness stitching, where you have two needles going through the same, back and forth through the same holes. So, I'm going to go ahead and...
So did they have like needles like we do now?
Absolutely, they did. I'm not letting anyone try to tell you that they did not. Needles like that have been made since Roman era.
But it wouldn't be this fine, though, right?
Yeah, of course they would. Finer than that.
The best part about going to these places are the people that dress in the gear, the clothing that they wore back then. The reenactors, they seem to really know their stuff. They understand the techniques and the materials and the tools and everything about the period that they're trying to reenact here. One of the craziest things about being here at Jamestown is that I came here to meet my friend and his family, and I've seen them, but then we all separated, and I can't find them to save my life.
Your entire family's MIA.
this stage over here, and again that is quarter till and quarter after the hour, and that'll be going all throughout the day. We'll also have a special artillery demonstration at 2:15 if you're still around, and 4:15. And that'll be in the back of the fort in the shade.
One of the neatest things about going to places like this are the recreators, the reenactors. You know, they go all out in dressing in the appropriate clothing for the time period, and they all seem to know their stuff pretty well.
The rapper. Oh, a rapper? Against school policy or whatever. Sure. And at least it's Virginia school, right?
Yeah.
They understand the history, and they explain it well to tourists, especially the kids, so that they understand and see things in a whole different light. You really start to learn and pick up a whole new understanding about history that you don't get in classroom history. When you actually are visiting places like this, they put you in that time, and it's a really neat experience.
The third thing you're going to need is the musket itself, right? Called the matchlock because of the match. So if we had a musket that used a piece of flint to set it off, what might we call that? We had one that used a spinning wheel to strike iron pyrite against metal. What might we call that? Wheel lock. Maybe a wheel lock, right? And those are all different types of muskets that existed. So, ready to go? When you hear me give the command, present your piece, you want to cover your ears, that's your cue. Present your piece! Fire! All right. Well, thank you all very much. Thank you.
We are on board the Susan Constant, one of the 3 ships that came to Jamestown those many years ago. And this is probably the pride and joy of the entire tour. This is a really neat way for adults and kids to get an idea of what it's like to be in one of these old school sailing ships. And they're a lot smaller than the real ones, of course, but it's as cramped and it's as mildewy and hot as the original ones were. This is the exhibit they saved for last, and it's well worth the wait, too. But they have reenactors on the boats that give you an idea of what the jobs were of the individual shipmen. And they talk about tying ropes and where they keep the food and what would happen if a boat were to go into battle with another. There's another shot of Brad and his beautiful bride Betty, and I think I was supposed to take a photo rather than video.
Hold up, I got on video. It is bloody hot outside today, guys. It's already above 100 degrees, and they're closing up the ships, so you can't go into the cabins, the lower levels, just because of the heat index being so high. They said right now it's 107, which is crazy high. And a lot of kids here, so they gotta go into colder areas inside the museum. You know, Brett, I don't know about you, but I don't remember ever in history class learning that they had ice cream vendors in
You know what?
towns.
I don't care. I didn't learn anything in history class. Our history teachers are
He was absent
geniuses.
that day.
Oh, great. We're taking movies. Thank you.
Yes, we are. I told you I
appreciate
would.
The warning.
I warned you yesterday.
No, yesterday's not a long warning.
Well, Brad and his family had to leave. They're headed back to D.C., and I am here, so I'm going to complete the tour and check out the sights.